The Invictus Games has become one of the most meaningful and emotional sporting events in the world, celebrating wounded, injured, and sick service members and veterans who find strength through sport, determination, and unity. Founded by Prince Harry in 2014, the Games were born from a deeply personal place in his life, shaped by his military experience and his understanding of what service members go through both physically and emotionally. Over the years, the Invictus Games has grown far beyond what many expected. It has become not only an international competition, but also a symbol of hope, resilience, and human courage. As the world looks ahead to the upcoming Invictus Games, excitement continues to build. Athletes from across the globe are preparing, families are looking forward to emotional reunions, and supporters are eager to witness moments of triumph, strength, and healing. But alongside the anticipation, a new and unexpected chapter has emerged, drawing attention not only from sports fans and military communities, but from royal watchers, political commentators, and the general public. Prince Harry is reportedly planning to invite his father, King Charles III, to take part in the Invictus Games in a visible and meaningful role. This invitation has sparked intense discussion, strong reactions, and passionate debate worldwide. For many people, the idea of Harry inviting his father is seen as a deeply symbolic gesture, possibly signalling an attempt to rebuild bridges that have long appeared broken within the royal family. After years of tension, separation, emotional interviews, and public disagreements, the thought of father and son standing together at an event dedicated to healing and unity has naturally stirred emotions. Some people see hope in this. They imagine a moment where the message of Invictus, which is about overcoming pain and finding strength again, could extend into Harry's own family life. They see it as more than royal protocol or publicity. They see it as human. The Invictus Games itself holds enormous emotional power. It was created to give wounded and injured service members a platform to rediscover purpose, pride, and confidence. Through sports like wheelchair basketball, cycling, archery, athletics, and many more, competitors push their limits, challenge the odds, and inspire millions watching around the world. Every athlete has a story. Every participant represents a journey of survival, determination, and endurance. Families often describe the Games as life-changing, not just because of medals or competition, but because it restores identity and hope. Prince Harry has always spoken passionately about how much these men and women mean to him, how their courage inspires him, and how Invictus is deeply part of his heart. Because of that emotional connection, supporters believe that inviting King Charles could add another layer of meaning. As the head of the armed forces, King Charles represents national honor, tradition, duty, and respect for those who serve. His presence at the Invictus Games would not only add royal prestige, but could be interpreted as a powerful statement of national unity behind veterans and military families. To many, it feels like the kind of moment where compassion, leadership, and humanity could come together in a powerful display of respect. Some royal commentators have already spoken positively about the idea, describing it as a thoughtful and significant gesture from Harry. They believe that despite everything that has happened over recent years, this invitation shows maturity, openness, and a willingness to heal. They argue that public unity between Harry and his father could help shift public focus away from conflict, and instead highlight shared values of service, duty, and respect. They hope that such a moment could remind the world of what the Invictus Games stand for, and show that even strained relationships can find their way forward. However, this story is far from universally celebrated. Alongside support, there has been an outpouring of criticism, skepticism, and backlash. Not everyone believes Harry's invitation is heartfelt or pure in intention. Some critics argue that Prince Harry may be trying to regain relevance within the royal sphere after stepping away from royal duties and relocating away from his previous life. They point to the controversies, interviews, and tensions that have followed his departure from the royal family, and they question whether this move is truly about reconciliation or rather about rebuilding public image. There are people who have openly described the invitation as desperate. Others have harshly labelled it embarrassing. These critics believe that such a public gesture feels more like a strategic performance rather than a personal act of healing. They question why a family reconciliation should take place on an international stage rather than privately behind closed doors. To them, the timing and the highly visible nature of the invitation raised doubts about sincerity and intention. Beyond criticism of Harry personally, there are also concerns about what this situation could mean for the Invictus Games itself. Some worry that the heart of the event could be overshadowed by royal drama and media spectacle. Instead of attention being focused on the athletes, on their bravery, their injuries, their resilience, and their emotional journeys, the spotlight may shift toward the royal family's internal conflicts. This could dilute the true meaning of the Games and distract the world from the individuals who truly deserve recognition. Another concern is whether the narrative becomes less about honouring service members and more about watching royal family dynamics unfold. Commentators have warned that if the event becomes too deeply connected to a story of royal reconciliation, people might begin watching for gossip rather than inspiration. That would be painful for many veterans who see Invictus not as entertainment but as a deeply personal and transformative experience. Meanwhile, there are also reports that the royal family itself is cautious about this situation. King Charles is said to be careful about committing to such a publicly symbolic moment. After years of strained relationships, emotional interviews, and a great deal of public scrutiny, stepping into such a situation in front of the world is not a simple decision. Any appearance would send a message, and that message would be analysed, debated, and interpreted globally. In addition to King Charles, attention also turns to Prince William. Reports suggest that he may not be comfortable with such a public reconciliation. Some within royal circles are believed to feel that personal family matters should not be discussed or resolved on massive public platforms, especially considering the depth of past tension. They reportedly prefer privacy, calm conversations, and carefully managed healing rather than global displays that could generate further speculation. This creates a complex emotional, political, and public situation. On one side, there is the possibility of unity, healing, and a meaningful moment between father and son. On the other, there is fear of media chaos, misinterpretation, pressure, tension, and the risk that everything could go wrong. Each decision carries weight. Each action comes with consequences. So what does this moment truly mean for the Invictus Games? In one sense, it could become a shining example of what the event stands for. Invictus is about rising after being broken, finding strength after struggle, and reclaiming hope after loss. A moment of reconciliation within the royal family could symbolically mirror that message. It could show that even relationships scarred by hurt and distance can find their way back to understanding. It could emotionally connect millions of viewers to the spirit of Invictus in a deeper way. But in another sense, critics fear that Invictus could become a battleground for public perception, rather than a celebration of human resilience. They worry that emotional headlines, gossip analysis, royal debate, and speculative commentary might drown out what truly matters. They want to protect the dignity of the athletes and make sure their stories remain at the heart of every conversation about the Games. They insist that whatever happens with Harry and King Charles must never overshadow the veterans whose courage built Invictus in the first place. What remains undeniable is that the world is paying attention. Supporters watch with hope, critics watch with suspicion, and many simply watch out of curiosity. Yet beyond reaction and debate, real people are preparing for the Invictus Games. Veterans are training, families are supporting them. Organisers are working tirelessly to ensure the event is meaningful, respectful, and inspiring. Above all, the spirit of Invictus remains powerful. It represents resilience, dignity, and the idea that wounds do not define a person's worth. Prince Harry himself stands at an emotionally complex crossroads. His life has drastically changed. He has faced public criticism, praise, misunderstanding, pressure, loss, and reinvention. The Invictus Games is one of the few things almost universally associated with purpose and meaning in his journey. Extending an invitation to his father could be deeply personal. It could be strategic. It could be both. Human beings are rarely driven by only one motivation. Sometimes intention is layered, emotional, and complicated. King Charles faces his own weight of responsibility. As monarch, he must constantly balance personal emotion with public duty. Every move he makes carries meaning. Every appearance sends a message. Whether he accepts the invitation fully, partially, cautiously, or declines entirely, the choice will echo through public conversation for a long time. And so, as the Invictus Games approaches, the world stands at a moment of anticipation. Will this become a story of reconciliation, unity, and shared respect for service? Or will it remain clouded by tension, criticism, and uncertainty? Will the world focus on healing, or will it continue to debate intention?